All right, I think that maybe that the live stream is on. Let me know if you guys can hear everything and see everything okay. We got 5 likes so far. It'd be really nice to get that up to 10 before we get the show going. Let everybody know we're back on and back live again. I completely apologize for the problem that we just had. I don't understand how routers work very well, but from what I was told is that the router's not working through the walls. So as long as my computer is multiple rooms away from the router, supposedly I'm going to continue to have a horrible signal. All right, thank you. We still only have 5 likes. We had a ton of people in here, man. We lost the whole crowd there. Do share with everybody that we're back in the live, that we're running. Let's just zoom back out. Let's talk about the larger picture while we wait to see what everybody's saying. As always, guys, if you could put your altcoins back in the chat and let me know what we're going to be looking at after we finish. Today, so far, we're going to look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. Once we get Bitcoin dialed in with the Bitcoin macro path, meaning that we understand why 74K is the goal currently on Bitcoin, then we can handle more. Okay, so let's zoom back out and let's talk about this from the top down on Bitcoin. And as soon as we get that figured out, then we'll move into the micro, then we'll move into our Ethereum game plans, and then we'll move into all of your altcoins. As always, guys, go ahead, smash up that like button, chat it up in the chats, hit the little emojis in the chats. This kind of stuff help others see the stream and gets us seen by more people and our work shared. So if you enjoy this and you want others to be part of it, do go ahead and share. What's up, Nameless? What's up, Jamie? Everybody's back. Thank you guys for coming back, even though we had such a technology glitch. I do apologize. All right, when we look from the top down, one of the things that you should be noting is that volume is increasing on the sellers, yes? If this continues, I would say, you know, that it is likely to continue. And the reason why is because we're waiting for the largest sellers to step in, right? Usually the wave 3 of the wave 3, which is these 5 waves here, we'll make them orange. The 5 waves of wave 3 itself typically has the largest volume, right? Whether that's sell volume or buy volume will be basically depending on that trend, right? So in this trend, it's a downtrend. So we have more sell volume coming in, showing us that we are looking for more downside, okay? So this could potentially be your 5 waves of wave 3. That is likely why you had a running flat here. Running flats like to occur within a strong downtrend. Then we get a 3-wave WXY up. It rejects at the 1-to-1 extension of a 3 swing and the 0.5 retracement, which is the wave 4 retracement template that we use in the Discord. Let me get some of this stuff off screen while we're doing this, and I'll just redraw it. We lost you guys with the glitch and now got you back, so I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So we're just measuring for a wave 4 after the 5 waves. So we have a 3-wave pullback into the 0.5. We had good invalidation for this short. It went amazing. We got in the short at 93 and some change in the Discord community and have been short ever since. Now that we understand that, we have to understand how do we get to 74K. Great. You're going to take a measure from this red 2. That's your first click. Second click at the bottom of that 5-wave structure where we think that yellow 3 is, right? So you're going from 0 of the yellow count to 3 of the yellow count to 4 of the yellow count using your trend-based fib extensions. That takes this down to a target of around 74,000, right? It's been the theme of the videos. It's been the theme of discussion in the Discord for quite some time. So overall, I do think that Bitcoin is looking for that 74K range as our next target. After that, we may see another local wave 4 bounce, right? And I would like to bet that wave 4 will come up And this is the terminal point of the prior degree wave 4. So a lot of times that next successive wave 4 will likely be in the same area of the terminal prior degree wave 4. I can give you an example of that right here. So this was a prior degree wave 4. And this is its successive degree wave 4. Likely, the majority of the time, the preceding degree wave 4 will not take out the prior degree wave 4, meaning that that's even sometimes a decent stop loss placement. Wink, wink. It can be a very tight stop loss that allows you to mitigate risk, enter with a decent position size, and absolutely capitalize on these moves down. All right, so now that we understand 74K on the macro, let's understand what's going on here on the hourly micro for Bitcoin. So yesterday in the Discord, we got in on some amazing shorts. They were shared with the community early in the morning that, hey, if we lose 90,008 something, it was 841 maybe, I said we would be getting an extremely strong blood short, right? Just really good red day. We charted this low time frame and we saw that we had potential 1-2 stacking going on here, right? We have 1 into 2, 1 into 2, 1 into 2, 1 into 2. Potential for 1-2 stacking, right? So then we knew, wow, if this thing gives it to it, we're going to be looking for a strong move to the downside with displacement, right? So we put this base channel on here so that we could see, hey, when I put a base channel from 0 to 1 to 2, does price action lose it? The obvious answer is yes, right? This obviously got strong displacement. It lost a base channel, increasing probability that this was an impulsive move to the downside. Last night before I went to bed, I said to the community, hey, we're already past the 1.618 with some candles. I think we're going to come all the way down to around the 2.618, right? Because those extended waves typically like to move from the minimum, which is 1.618, to the next common 2.618, next common 3.618, right? So X 0.618 is what these wave threes like. So there is a strong chance that we don't have a low in here for the red 3. Yes, extended wave 3s can continue to go. But if you are looking for a pivot, and we are looking for a wave 4, we're going to measure from red 2 to the lows of red 3. And we're going to look for this to move up to around 87,791 at most. And then remember that wave 4s don't typically hit a 0.618 retracement, though it can happen. It's just less likely than probable, right? So it's a decent stop loss placement also. This one is right in the middle of that internal fair value gap left behind. I chuckle because be careful, right? That's a liquidity grab. It could happen. But let's see how this move is comprised to the upside, while at the same time watching for the RSI to cook up quickly, letting us know that there could be hidden bear divergence on the RSI. What's up, Stanko Bobnar? What's up? That's a funny name. That's hard to say, dude. All right, so outside of watching for that hidden bear, the other thing that we should be seeing here is that this volume is not really tapering off, right? You have a little bump and a bigger bump, right? So I wanted to say that it's kind of diverging, but it's really not so much along with RSI, right? Like RSI made higher lows while price action made lower closures. That let us know that there's a regular bull divergence, right? So we might see some chopping here, but overall our bias is to take this low and give another low for this circle, or parentheses, red 5, excuse me. So with the volume increasing, just be aware that that 3-4 stacking may not be done playing out yet. I'm definitely not scalping longs here. I'm sticking with my original short, and I would much rather add to the trend in a 3-wave motion, even more so if it finds this base channel's resistance, right? That's very common in a wave 4. The other thing that you would look for is when this three-wave motion is made, you would look for price action to not come up very high, but to make higher highs than that price action previous made on the RSI. So that means seeing that hourly cook up to around that 65 level could be a decent sign if we have a three-wave motion to look for shorts. And I want to show you that on the larger time frame so that you can also see how that worked. All right, so let's just use ye old arrows. So when we look at yellow wave 2 and we look at yellow wave 4, I want you to admire their price action high and their RSI high. Okay, so I'm going to go to this price action high because it was the closures that I'm most worried about. We can see that we made a higher high on RSI in the downtrend, but not on price action. That's a hidden bear divergence. When we see that, we should think in Elliott Wave, hey, number one, I lost my big base channel, lost my red base channel. Boom. I'm thinking about impulsive displacement to the downside. The second thing, my successive or preceding degree, wave 4, is making a hidden bear divergence with a 3-swing motion, and it's lining up with my prior count, right? This gave you every reason to want to short this, okay? So basically that is about everything that I have on Bitcoin from the high time frames to the low time frames. I do want you to understand that once Bitcoin does make that yellow wave 5 that we're talking about, why do I keep clicking the wrong thing? We are going to look for a retracement, right? So we're going to look for some sort of strong retracement at that point in time. I'll draw some stuff on the screen here so that it can help understanding. Just trying to get rid of some of our other drawings first. So if this follows through in 5 waves, 1, 2, let's say this gives 3, 4, and 5, we look for a strong move up. And now we can make math for the rest of the trend. If so, we would look for a strong move, right? This could potentially be the move that gets an extended fifth, right? So we're very open to this move coming down deeper than we think, right? But once we find the low of this yellow wave 5 with a minimum target of 74K and the next target being at 64.3, then we'll be able to talk about more. But we have to see this 5 waves down so that I can give you math for the rest of that 4-hour and hourly trend that we were watching, okay? So let's get the 5 down. Let's work on our move up, add to the shorts if everything's working out, look for another good blood short, wave 4, and a final short, right? Know that at that point in time, you're getting into those kind of wave 5 low, right? So at that point, we're going to start seeing those divergences come in with lower sell volume and the bearish divergence on the RSI, right? So be careful with the shorts. Don't just be adding to your shorts willy-nilly, right? You have to understand at this point in time that we're working based upon an hourly chart, right? That's all the short trader cares about is the hourly chart. And the hourly chart says Bitcoin is bearish, right? So if you're a scalp trader, you're way past corrective extensions. We're way into impulsive territory, right? Again, the hourly trader is always waiting for price action to come back to them, right? Because that's always the better trade. Trying to short this trend from while it's already chopping down here at the bottom is stupidity, right? So you have chop at the beginning, displacement, chop at the end. Once that chop in the end comes in, we are looking for a retracement and then a final fifth. The fifth will likely take the lows of 3, right? That's the most probable thing to happen. So if at any point in time, this receives a nice strong, let's say, A, B could even expand, B and C. And I do want you to understand that in Elliott Wave, we look for alternation, right? So this 3-wave motion is very drug out and very long and lengthy. and it doesn't retrace the majority of the structure. It only retraces around 61.8% of it, or the golden pocket. So I would almost be willing to say, or open to, either an expanded flat in 4 or a regular sharp scary zigzag. This way we can shake more people out and give the alternation in structures between the wave 4 and the wave 2. Now, if I'm a trader, my guys, all I'm doing is looking for where does that find resistance, right? Because when it does, you're also going to be teeing this up with your RSI and seeing, do I have a hidden bear divergence? Did my RSI cook up and get higher in that 3-wave motion and then reject again, making a regular bull at the lows? So regular bull, hidden bear. We're going to look for hidden bear here, and we're going to look for regular bull here after this 5-wave clean, clear 5-wave motion is made, right? Then you're going to look for the bigger short here when we come back up into the internal fair value gap or imbalance left behind in liquidity. Yes? All right, my dudes. So that's everything on Bitcoin. Let's move really quickly into Ethereum. I only have a couple altcoins down today. I think today might actually be a really fast stream. But what I do want you to understand is that every time you get one of these larger corrections upward for Bitcoin, plan on the altcoins getting jiggy, right? Making some money, making some moves, baiting folks in, getting them to repurchase their positions, and doubt everything, right? So every time this comes down and makes a low, people sell those altcoins. Then Bitcoin chops up the stairs. And those altcoins go nuts because the Bitcoin dominance is going down while Bitcoin's price is going up, and some of the altcoins are getting a real chance to breathe, right? So don't be the asshole who keeps buying the dip that never stops dipping, yes? %, Addy. Sorry, guys, just reading the Discord here. Or not the Discord, reading the chats. Yeah, we nailed this stuff. We got lucky. The math really danced with us in the Discord and gave us some great opportunities. Alts will be very high risk, dude. That's a good point. You don't really want to get too deep into these altcoins. So first, let's look at Ethereum. And I want you to also understand that same short principle is what we're looking for on Ethereum, right? So we're looking for the same short on Twitter. All right, blah, God, I'm jumbled emotions today. Sorry, guys. The internet being off today threw me off. We are looking for the same hourly short on Ethereum. So you have this idea. I'll show you. ADA is also the same thing. This is something we talked about earlier this morning in the community. This is an extended wave 3. It may not be over yet, right? The reason why is because it has the highest volume and it has no divergence on the RSI. It likely is 1, 2, 1, 2 stacking, and this is 3, 4, 3, 4, and then it will give a final fifth, right? So Ethereum could be kind of the same trade setup, right? You're waiting for that wave 4 with hidden divergence that comes to a wave 4 retracement, possibly battles with what? The resistance of the old base channel, and we look for a short on Ethereum, right? So we let that come to us. Now, if you put an idiot box on this, I don't call it an idiot box because anyone's stupid. It just makes the day easier than being stressed out about when the correction should be over. That's your idiot box. Clone it. Move it to your same degree. And that should be around the same size correction in time. Now, it can go much deeper, right? Like we said, this could be a really sharp, scary wave 4 that comes back and even tests what would be prior degree wave 4's terminal point before moving down. So if you get some sort of sharp, scary 3-wave motion, look for then a successive 5-wave motion, right? And then we get divergence that we're looking for on the RSI. And then we get divergence that we're looking for on the volume. Right now, we don't have that proper setup for me to want to get in a short here on Ethereum on this time frame. Now, if we go to the 15-minute, we might be able to figure something out. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't want to try to short this from here unless you're running a super close invalidation and calling this a bear flag, right? So this would be the pull, flag, dump to a technical target, and then maybe you could finally say this wave 3 low is in. Overall, though, Bitcoin's or Ethereum's sell volume is coming up. It's not telling us that we should be super scared right now for our shorts. We should be feeling good about our shorts. That's why a lot of times we're adding to those shorts, okay? Let me get a drink of coffee here. All right. So that overall is Ethereum. Do tune into the other streams for much larger time frames where we talked about everything that we were looking for on here. So far, Ethereum had a failing structure as a 3-wave up only here. So it sets us up for, is this a 3-3-5? A, excuse me, B, and now we make a C wave down. In my opinion, that's what I am waiting for. I'm not too urged to try to get into Ethereum again. My last entries were between 13 to 1700. I sold those off around the 42 mark, I think. Yeah, right in here somewhere I was all out of Ethereum. So for now, and we're going to go to this high. For now, I'm just going to stay patient and watch what happens here, right? We haven't even made the 618 extension of what we're looking for here. I would like to say the most common area of interest for Y is the 1.2 or 1 through 1.236, but Ys can truncate at the 618 to 786. So that's something to be aware of on this. And the other thing that we can do is we can dilly with these internal counts of the Y, right? If this is going to be some sort of expanded flat in Y, minimum target is to take the lows of A. So I really like this, right? Like if Ethereum hands me a really good push to 14 to 1,000, I would probably as a spot buyer be looking to potentially buy that dip. Now, we will know more about this because why? Because it's a C wave, right? So a C wave has to be formed in 2 ways. Classically, 5-wave impulse to the downside, or an ending diagonal, which is 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down. You get the point. My drawing got a little wobbly. My drawing had a stroke as we were drawing it, but an ending diagonal, which is all 3-wave motions, right? So because of that, we may get a very clean, clear, crisp 5-wave down. And if you had 5 down from here, my dudes, even if it comes down super deep, I don't care. This is not drawn to scale. I'm just showing you. People would say, oh my God, the top is in for Ethereum. But really, this would be a massive opportunity and a massive swing for spot traders, excuse me, and low leverage traders. This would be a massive swing opportunity. And the macro, all your oscillators will be really reset and oversold at that time. I would say you're even trying to reach down now with a little bit of trying to get near that oversold, even making almost a weekly hidden bull divergence on our last weeks. So with these things happening, I'm really looking for the trend to continue downward, right? So I'm not trying to buy this as an opportunity yet, because I do see this as a 3-wave motion, right, in a B wave, because of my larger degree counts biasing me towards a bearish Ethereum overall. All right, does anybody have any questions over Bitcoin or Ethereum in the chats? Let's go check before we move on. Let me see if we got any other altcoins. Guys, where are you guys from in the chats? Are you from England, Germany, Canada? Anywhere, just let me know. I always find it cool to learn where everybody's from. While you guys are chatting about that, I'm going to look into what other altcoins you guys want me to cover. So far on the list of altcoins you guys wanted covered was Zcash, Bitcoin Cash, VELO, METAFOX, FARTCOIN, and DMTR. I want you to know that VELO could be a major macro setup that's coming in. It was charted by someone in our Discord. Andy in our Discord charted it and sent it to me. His idea, and we'll cover that when we get to VELO, was that we're looking for a really bullish reversal. And if you remember, we called the 70% plus dump on Velodrome early in the season, forever ago. A year ago, we called the top on Velodrome. Oh, Jabray is from UK. Got it, brother. I'll write that down. It's good to see you in the chats, man. I love it. If you could go over Bitcoin Cash. Okay, yeah, I got Bitcoin Cash wrote down, broken. And also, now I know who you are. Thank you, sir. And I hope you're doing well today. All right. The other thing we had come in from Stanko Bobnar asked if we could look at JASMY. So let's write JASMY down. What else do we got for altcoins? Dubai Fitness. Is it the BEAE? What does that mean, sir? Is it the BA? Please do ADA. I have a huge bag. Oh, you're not going to like the news on ADA. I covered it this morning in the Discord, Dubai, and we've been keeping it updated, brother. You should come to the Discord and not miss out on this alpha, okay? All right. Can you show VELO surfing? Sounds great. I will also show VELO. Thank you, Jabray. I got that written down. I'm looking at VELO USDT on KuCoin, day sleeper 062. Okay? Here, let's just look at that really quickly so we can all understand which VELO I am talking about, day sleeper. This is the VELO that I'm talking about. We called this top on VELO a long ass time ago in the Discord community, okay? You have divergences on your RSI and volume, giving a momentum divergence into these highs on the diagonal. We said the most common area of interest after a diagonal was the 786, right? On the lower time frames, we absolutely nailed the reversal in the B wave on these highs. And now we're looking for what? We came down to our area of interest on a daily. I just want to show you that one more time so you can understand. Day sleeper. Yep, that's the one, buddy. I almost cussed. I found out YouTube doesn't like my cussing. We had a 3-wave B. I called the top of this. We have dropped since then. This was known in the Discord, Twitter, everywhere. I tried to let people know. People laughed at me. 76% drop came in to the T to our first target, which was the 1-to-1 extension. In the Discord, I've been keeping these lower time frames updated for Velodrome so that we could understand what we're potentially looking at here and how could we get a reversal. Yes, so let me just fucking delete everything because we can redraw it another time. If this is potentially wave 1 into 2, 3, a 4, and a 5, let's zoom in some more. This is something that we talked about early this morning in the Discord. I think it's funny. I kind of chuckle because I really do think people are missing out on true great technical analysis and opportunities. So do swing by and check it out. Anyways, so Andy sent this in the chart request. He said, yo, could this be a 5-wave structure to the upside? And how does it look? So when we looked at this, we could see the momentum divergence on volume and RSI, along with the higher closure on price action. We can analyze this from 0 to 3 to 4 for a wave 5 target. You can see we find that wave 5 target at the 382. In Elliott Wave, if one of the waves is extended, it's highly likely that your other waves, your two waves, meaning your wave 1 and wave 5 in this scenario, your other two trending impulsive waves, will be around a 1-to-1 measure of each other, if that makes sense. So they usually find equality along with these divergences. Because of that, I think we're looking for an ABC back for a massive opportunity. So we're probably going to find an A wave to around the 0.5 retracement, a small bounce into the imbalance or internal fair value gap left behind, and then a successive leg to the downside. I would like to say this probably comes to the 702, if not the 786, to come back and eat some liquidity out of this bullish hammer candle left behind. We can look at the fixed range volume profile on this leg up. And this is just a linear measure, right? You don't have to capture the tops. Look how that most volume and fixed range volume profile for the leg up is here all the way back at the 702. So I think on Velodrome, we're looking for that as an opportunity. Now, the reason why this is so big on Velo is you have to understand how big that inception move was off the lows mathematically. 3,700%, okay? So that means you could be looking for a partner leg of this leg, which would be absolutely amazing. Or the other way we could see it is, what if I'm wrong? And this is starting to come down harder, right? And by that I mean, instead of an ABC to the downside, this is maybe starting a diagonal, meaning it would get a wave 4. So that opportunity just becomes the wave 4. We get hidden bear divergence and we dump. Either way, I don't care, because as a spot holder, the 4-hour opportunity is where my attention is, right? So I'm going to be mitigating and managing risk based upon this 4-hour time frame. And its first leg up was around 65%. Right? So the thing to understand is we may be waiting for another 65% move, right? And if that's true, all you're going to do is simply sit on your hands and let the patience pay. The markets pay you more for your patience than they do for your time in the market forcing things to happen. Yes? So if we look at this mathematically, the road for Velodrome could be managed this way. So let's go look at our golden pocket again, because we remember the 702 being key. So use our golden pocket template. And at this time, we don't see the low of A yet, but once we get it, I have a mathematical pivot. Then I have another mathematical pivot when we get the B. Now I can give myself a fine area of interest to use my dollar cost average smart, right? So my dollar cost average likely wouldn't even buy until there. And a second buy, which is bigger, and a third buy, which is larger, making a pretty little wizard's hat, yes? And I would buy into that. And if my second buy is not more than 10% away, which this one's only 5.6% away, I don't buy that buy. I let it pass and I save my buy to here, right? So what I'll do is take this buy, leave it here, take this purchase that I would have made, and likely add it as the trend reverses, right? So I won't leave it here. I'll wait this money on the sidelines, being a good little boy, until the trend shows a reversal, and then I go right back into it. So if this happens, we use our math from low to high to predict how that next 65% move for Velodrome could come in. So if we find support there, if all we caught was an ABC to the upside, and that C wave makes that 65% motion, That's an amazing trade for a spot trader, right? You have invalidation here at the lows. You have a target that you're looking for to the highs, right? It's the same thing that we always talk about. You're building a bridge to get us across this problem. So we're driving down the road. We see a big oh shit scenario. Uh-oh. What do? We build the bridge of the connection and we get across the road to the finish line. Once we get over here, baby, we're looking at structures. We're looking at divergences. We'll look at how this move channels. We'll add in so many aspects to this that you'll be able to mitigate your losses, which we did on FARTBOY in the community, right? Early on, I was telling people, hey guys, FARTBOY's not looking so hot, getting worried here, blah, blah, blah. I'm not able to make these kind of updates on Twitter. This is real-time analysis, and it's much easier done in a Discord where I'm taking care of the people, right? So it's just what I have to do. They're my priority. So if you want the lower time frame analysis like this, the 4-hour, 1-hour updates that come all week long in our daily live streams, come in, say hi. All right, I am going to move Velodrome up the list, and our next altcoin was Zcash. All right, this guy had a technical target breakdown that we shared in the Discord early on. We made it to the technical target, and then we turned that extension into a resistance and broke down further. It is now holding on the 1.382. If this continues, you could talk about a reversal, but I would say personally, Zcash does not look like, let me make sure I check these highs, 739. 744. Okay. Zcash does not look like it's ready to reverse yet. Okay? To me, I would just keep sitting on my hands on this guy and letting time pass. It could easily, because it retraced 90% of the move, right, in this three-wave motion, gives us the opportunity to say, at some point, I do plan on Zcash taking the high, right? This was a high, and then it made a three-wave motion off the highs, leaving bullish order flow on the high or a green candle wick, after which it makes a 3, 3, 5 up the stairs in a B wave. Now, C waves can be made in one of two ways. One of two waves or ways? I don't even know what I said. The first way would be a standard 5-wave impulse, and the second way is a ending diagonal, where you have 3 waves in 1, 3 waves in 2, 3 waves in 3, 3 waves in 4, and 3 waves in 5. Diagonals are more rare than the 1-2 stacking that we talked about earlier in the stream, right? So if that's true, we surely aren't seeing this to the downside. Would you agree? We have three waves to the downside, and more bullshit to the upside, and more bullshit to the downside. Because of that, I'm also curious, should we open the door to this being more of what we talked about earlier in the stream, which would be some kind of correction in a double zigzag style to throw people off, right? So we have 3 down, 3 up, and this could be starting that 5 down. That would be my main concern. So far, it's not looking like a bottom, so I definitely wouldn't be trying to buy it. Let's look at divergences. You do have an hourly divergence on the RSI when you made lower closures on the RSI. You should also notice on Zcash that you made a very strong bullish hourly reversal candle. Now you could go into lower time frames and look at this and see, could it be making a real reversal? I would say likely yes. You could see some temporary relief come in because of this structure, right? It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. You can see where it checks price action in the 2 and checks price action in the 4, right? The whole time finding resistance on that 50 EMA on the 15 minute, which you're over now. So if the divergence is to come into play, let's check volume. You had sell volume drying up also. So It could be forming a temporary pivot like we talked about we were looking for on Bitcoin. As a scalp trader or someone trying to get this, you're looking for 5 waves up, 3 waves back for the long, and ride this to our extensions and see, is this corrective and I'm all the way out, or do I validate as an impulse, add to the trade and finish the ride into divergence, and then add to a bigger trade later in the day, right? So look for Zcash for opportunities like that for the rest of the day. All right, let's keep going here. That's Zcash. The next thing was Bitcoin Cash. Unfortunately, I want it to do something. You don't always get what you want, but this was the hopes. So I put this on the chart. I gave this as a challenge to one of the members in the Discord to see, you know, could they come up with what could be happening here. It's a very convoluted correction. The main problem with this is time, though, right? So according to time, this should be a B wave, right? Also, it's more than 6 times in length in correction than it was in the impulsive motion to make the 1 or A. You know, because of that, it does mess with the probabilities of this, making it highly probable that according to time, that this would be a B wave or not even a valid count anymore. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, when we look at this price action to the downside, we have a 3-wave motion down and a 3-wave chopping motion to the upside that ends in 5 waves. After which, we might be able to say that this leg is getting a partner leg to the downside. This, what we're looking for, was a C into the target box. I don't think that the low is in yet because of the ultra low time frame. So I might just keep letting this one settle until I can see at least a 5-wave recovery, which we haven't yet on Bitcoin Cash, right? So for right now, I'm just going to keep letting this one go because of time, making it kind of like a lower probability count. I don't want to just go all in. I want to let the dust settle and then strike. So I want to let it come in the target box. If it keeps coming, great. But my whole goal is not to buy until I get 5 waves up and 3 waves back. And then I will take a chance to see, do we only get a 3 swing or do we make an impulse, shallow pullback, 5, and then you can add more DCAs and move our invalidation point up to here versus all the way at the lows, okay? You also have your bearish probability shift point, which will kick in for Bitcoin Cash at $470.99. Losing $492 will make it highly unlikely that we do take this high and that we do continue down in a very steep, bloody motion. So that's Bitcoin Cash. Let me know if you have any questions over that one. Let's go back to Bitcoin while we're waiting here. All right, the next chart that you guys wanted to look at was VELO, but we covered VELO earlier in the stream, so the next one is METAFOX. Let's go find that. We're gonna have to do that on the DEX screener. Come on. I haven't looked at this in forever. All right. So this was our target box. As you can see, this was drawn by hand. I was telling everybody we're turning the 618 into resistance on METAFOX. And our target box was all the way down here, right? Because of that, we were looking for that confluence of the 1.382 and 0.5 retracement, which we found. We've also looking very likely that METAFOX will continue down to explore the 1.618 extension, as well as the 618 golden pocket retrace confluence coming in around 1024. Okay, so a bunch of fucking zeros, 1024. I would let a low happen on a project like this and work from there. I would not knife catch this. Yes, so this, I don't knife catch shitcoins. It ain't happening. So let it make a low, then look for structures. Let it make a structure and then buy the pullback, right? That's how you operate so that you have invalidation for your naughty little investment that you want to do into something called Fox, right? Basically, that's it on Fox, dude. We called this high so long ago, right? This was way back. Even before then, I think we weren't talking so hot. I would have to go check. I haven't looked in a long time. I don't want to misspeak. I apologize. All right, the next thing someone asked for was Jamie. And you asked about XLM, so let me get that written down. All right, we covered METAFOX. Let's cover FARTCOIN because that's just another really hot asset, as I can only imagine. I always get worried when people are able to ask about FARTCOIN or fucking any of these horrible shit coins while the market is bloody as shit. It shows me that the fear's not real. People haven't been hurt enough, right? If you're still willing to put the risk on the table in this environment, you haven't been hurt enough. All right, let's talk about this hideous move. Zoom out first to see if I ever drew a bias on here. All right, so we do have a macro channel. I'm going to keep this on linear. Let's turn, this won't matter yet, but I'm going to show you all the retracements just so you can see how we're acting. So with this being under the 0.236 and remaining under there, I would have really no interest yet, right? The other thing is you've had no center line reaction yet. I would love to see a center line reaction taken from high to low to high. And until I get that, I would be just chilling on my hands, dude. This was a touch to a 618. It is not the most common area of interest per extensions, right? And I understand that for the math to make sense per the extensions, that we have to go to logarithmic so that we don't go into negative territory. But to reach those most common extensions, gang, we'll redraw this channel. That means that we are going to go down to the one line, which is at 1385. I can only imagine that would be really painful for a lot of people. You can see on this, I believe, log chart. You can see on this log chart, I didn't realize how much blue stuff was on here. You can see on this log chart that we came down to the 786, found it as support, barely rose up, pissed through. Now, if you can somehow validate, which we'll try to go do on FARTCOIN on the lower time frames, if you can validate a low time frame reversal, then we could talk about more upside. As of right now, I would say this is a really strong reaction. So let's zoom into the ultra low time frames and see, can FARTCOIN try to not go to that one line? All right, let's look at the math here because I think this is where we're going to struggle. This low was 1806. This is 1805, so it's a lower low. I would love to try to lie to myself and say this is a 0 point and a top and a 1, choppy wave 2 that occurred in a bull flag. But this is the issue. This 3-wave motion has 5 waves within it, right? You can see the 5 waves. But it doesn't reach the minimum target of 1.618 when we measure from pivot to pivot to pivot. That is not a rule in Elliott Wave. It doesn't say that it has to do that. And off of areas of reversals, we often will see a weak move, right? But as long as the rules of Elliott Wave aren't invalidated, you could lie here and say this is a real structure. So let's delete everything so we can just put this on. You could say that's 1 into 2, 3 into 4, and 5. Now, the reason you're able to side with this is because you can see a couple things. You could see how you could potentially see a micro count here. I make this a low time frame. You can see 5 waves within your wave 1. And then again, you can see 5 waves within your next potential wave or trending impulsive wave of 3, right? So you can see this in each wave, which is great. I think we'll let this do. Sorry, it's a little hard to manage these counts. So if this again is not breaking any rules, which it's not, because wave 1 into 2, 3 is longer than 1, 4 doesn't overlap into the tops of wave 1, and then you have a successive wave 5. This sets itself up to be possible, right? So again, there's likely 5 waves in here. Even though it looks like shit and it looks like a 3-wave motion, this is likely a 5-wave move, I would say, is the most probable thing. So what I would be doing as an hourly trader, let me turn this on so I don't make a big mess of the screen. Let's look at our RSI as we made this motion up. No divergences, just really pushing it. Basically, when I get divergences like this where they're basically an equal top, I call this kind of like an exaggerated divergence. I don't know the exact wording on it. If you do, correct me. Hit me up in the chats and let me know so that I can learn from my mistakes. The thing, though, that I'm most keyed into here is that FARTCOIN made what? 109% move, guys. This amazing move. So now let's look at this from a trend-based fib time perspective, from the low of FARTCOIN to the high of FARTCOIN. We can see that the correction is over past the minimum in time, and it's happening between the 1 and the 1.618 with a strong reversal so far, right? This arcing strong reversal coming off of a hidden bull divergence on the RSI, right? So here's your old RSI in your 2. Here's even your RSI in your wave 3 of your wave 1. You can see we're far oversold. We're even past the lows of the inception point of the possible impulsive motion towards the upside. So I would say FARTCOIN is looking for another potential 100% move off of these lows, okay? So I would want to find a way to take advantage of that. And that's what we're all here for, right? So put a retracement from the low to the high. You came to the minimum of what we would expect in that 3-wave retracement to a golden pocket template of 0.5. Now I would add the extensions from low to high to low so that I could look for a 3-swing trade to the upside, meaning I am looking for the 1 through 1.382 as a potential ABC, or wave 1 into 2 going for 3. Now we won't know whether this is a C or a 3 until later, right? We could be biased on FARTCOIN to say, wow, we're going to get a 3. But until this reaches 1.618, pulls back in a 4, and gives a successive 5 to an estimated 2.236, you can see how FARTCOIN has 2 trade scenarios set up here, right? So if we look at FARTCOIN on a macro, we have an ABC coming up to the 1 through 1.382, which you can see here is 54 cents to 71 cents. If that 71 cents is broken on FARTCOIN, we could really start to look for what would then be a potential wave 3 to the 1.618 around 85 cents, a shallow pullback into wave 4 that never invalidates the trade by touching wave 4 lows to the wave 1 highs, and then we would look for follow through, right? We would be able to really keep this kind of updated as we went. So this is a good trade on an hourly to be part of and be something to be watching for. Current traders are looking for invalidation off these lows around 25.93. They're looking for this to be a standard impulse up, three-wave pullback, and give us follow through in a 3, give a 4, and a 5. You would rather that really get quite displacing and invalidate the C would be your goal for FARTCOIN. So, all right. That's everything I have on FARTCOIN, guys. Thank you for so many likes, dude. We got 10 likes on the stream. That's super big. Let's keep going. We have done that. The next one is DMTR. So let's get that going. DMTR. All right, so DMTR would be your next coin. You can see a shit ton of squiggles on here. This from our last live stream. Let's see what we had happen. Let me get rid of that mark that I just made. So what happened, guys? Since our last live stream, how did we see failure of structure here? You got what to the upside? A three-wave motion, right? So very choppy start to this structure. It looks somewhat 3-3-5. So in an A, this looks like a B, and this looks like a C to me. I understand that it's past the 1.618, but the next thing that I want you to understand that this is crypto. Shit happens, yes? But once you got past the 1.618, if you were wanting to be a bull and you were like, dude, I'm super bullish on this, I think that's a 3, this is a 4, and we're going for the 5, well, you saw local failure. So you knew 5 wasn't coming, right? You could also use math to help make an objective decision here. You knew when this touched the 0.618 and gave overlap with wave 1, it wasn't coming. So why didn't people sell off DMTR into this run instead of avoiding another 20% downside, which I think is likely going to sweep the lows, right? The reason I side with sweeping the lows is because it was only a three-wave motion to the upside. Anytime there's a three-wave motion up and you have already retraced more than 78.6% of the motion, son of a bitch. I always make those little dots all over my chart. And you've already retraced 78.6% of said motion, you should be considering that we're moving this to the next area of interest. Look at it's already found possible resistance on the 90% area, meaning if you are lucky, DMTR would give you a little hopium here. But ultimately, it's moving down into this area of interest. And if it loses it and loses 1.382, it's going to go straight through this 1.618 like cheese, yeah? I personally would not be super stoked on trying to be part of this one. The structures aren't setting you up for success. You have a three-wave motion up. That's likely a connector, and you're going to give strong displacement to the downside. Stuff like this is not the plays you want to chase, okay? All right, that's DMTR. Sorry that I don't have the best news. Sometimes I have to have bad news. But I do appreciate you putting in the chart request, and let's keep going. So far on our list, VELO might be kind of the better chart that we've charted so far that you guys have brought up per altcoins, and Bitcoin Cash. So I would say those are the two altcoins of the stream so far that could potentially get me to be involved. All right, so Chaz said, even if we get a push up on VELO to highlighted target, are you still expecting price to hit the 1.382 fib? Let's go look at that, Chaz. Are you in the Discord, Chaz? If not, man, you got to get in there because you have amazing questions. If you're able to ask questions like this, it shows that you actually have, the motivation to start learning and moving forward. Which 1.382 are you talking about, Chaz, if you're still here? Are you talking about the 1.382 here? Or are we talking about the 1.382 to the downside here. You just let me know, sir, and I will come back to that chart. But let me know, is it the 1.382s that we're talking about here on the 4 hour, the one to the upside or the one to the downside? Or are you asking, am I expecting a new low? A lot of this is a 4 hour chart, so I will urge you to come to the Discord this way. Even if you only come for the week trial, at least we can get this sorted and get you some understanding on the kind of path in which this could take in the market. Because even if you leave after the trial, so be it. At least you have the roadmap for Velodrome in your hands and can move forward from there. So I will say I'm going to deflect the low time frame stuff until I hear from you, and we'll move on. All right, next thing is going to be JASMY. I'm sticking to these Coinbase charts because these altcoins didn't get destroyed as hard with the big sell-off wicks. As you can see, JASMY is just continuing the macro downtrend here. This is something that we did share previously. It kind of makes me smile. Let me turn the volume back on. We looked at this in our last stream and in the Discord. So recently we talked about this and posted this in the Discord. We talked about why this is likely the first leg of a correction, right? So it loses, excuse my clicking, it loses the prior degree wave 4 in a nice sharp 5-wave motion, and then it gives a 3-wave motion up and then starts to roll over. You can see this looks like 1 into 2 stacking, right? So I would imagine we're going to get some 3s into 4s and really come down deeper here for JASMY. The main problem I have with this is that once it reaches this 90% retracement, it fully sets itself up to likely be a B wave. And by that, I mean that anything that comes out of here will likely only be a corrective motion and not a new impulsive structure. Okay? So on JASMY, I love this structure. It validates, it works out well. You can see if we pull from 0 to 1 to the low of 2, which was very drug out, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 waves within the wave 3. And when we label that so that we can see that more clearly, you can see that this breaks none of the rules. You have 5 waves within wave 3. You also had what? On your wave 3, regular bear divergence on the RSI and declining volume. So you had a momentum divergence, yes? So it lets you know that we're looking for a local pivot. When we did, you made this horrible 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, likely a WXY into those lows, and gave a deep, what? Hidden bull divergence between wave 4 and wave 2, which is amazing. And then it takes off for the 5th. Now, I think that was the 5th of the highs of the structure because that bearish divergence continued on volume and RSI. Because of that, I think this is first leg down, connector, and we're looking for a partner leg. It may have to reach that 888, right? The other thing that we should be really open to is, what if it makes an expanded B wave? I know that's crazy, but what if we make an A, a new low and a B, or even come to the 105 expansion and then give a C, right? This, I would say that shouldn't happen because this isn't 3 waves, right? So every time you talk about this being a flat, we want to see 3 waves up and 3 waves down, followed by the 5 waves up to make it a 3-3-5 flat. If this were to be that zigzag correction where we look for an ABC, we really don't want to lose 786. We really don't want to touch the 888. We really don't want to start shifting all these probabilities. So let's see, C for a C wave. Can we get a 5-wave structure here that holds this 786 zone? I would say, because of the way it's shaping up, it could be very likely that we invalidate this 5-wave motion, right? That would be my biggest concern. All right, that's JASMY. Let's see what was next here. Chaz, your question. It's your C wave target from last week's video to the downside at 0.0026. All right, so let me go back to the VELO chart, Chaz. Thanks for so many questions, dude. Let's just delete everything. I hate that paintbrush. Would you be referring to, my friend, the macro target? Oh, mother of pearl. I told you I make so many of those dots. I apologize. Let's go from high to low to the high. And are you referring to this 1.382? Let's see. No, I do not expect us to come down to here. Right? I want that. Would I buy it? Yes. But what I'm doing right now is trying to see, will we get a lower time frame reversal? Now, the other thing that you could see happen is if this is the first 3 waves of a correction in an ABC, right, in an A or a W, then we could see 3 waves up, high retracement, right, and then 5 waves down. But what I'm trying to do is see, am I forming a local pivot here on Velodrome on our lower time frames to see, can I even ride a corrective motion up, right? Because this is a spot trade. So I'm not levered up. I'm looking to add to non-levered spot positions. If you want to do some craziness, which we have divergence on volume and RSI, then what you're trying to do is you're being an hourly scalper. You're being an hourly trader. You are looking for the bounce that we talked about, because why? This has the look. You have chopping and grinding, displacement, chopping and grinding, displacement. Final leg, even that final leg looks like dog shit. It's overlapping. It's all chop city. It's not good. But with those key looks and the divergences, meaning a divergence on volume, divergence on the RSI, divergencing with the higher closures on price action, I've got cottonmouth. We should be expecting this to be the first leg of correction. We look for some sort of 3-wave motion into the imbalance in a following C wave. If it holds in this pattern, Chaz, you're looking for Velodrome to have a leg, a connector, and a partner leg that takes the highs and delivers an estimated target of 65%. So why wouldn't I want to be part of this local trade? Do you know what I mean? But do come to the Discord, Chaz. Pop in. Great questions. And see, dude, you're missing out during the week. We hit a lot of really fun plays. So come on by. All right, Stanko Bar asked about FARTBOY. You're the first one, man. I'm surprised. The FARTBOYs went silent recently. They were super loud and proud, and then it just fell off. I don't know what happened with FARTBOY. All right, so let's go look at, this was VELO. After JASMY was ADA. ADA is for Dubai Fitness. Another person with great questions. We charted this earlier this morning in the Discord Dubai. So for now, this is our low time frame roadmap that we're looking for on ADA. I do think Dubai Fitness that they are going to wash out your purchase point. I think that what I would be trying to do is mitigate risk to the motion towards the upside, right? So if this makes a wave 4, you're lucky if it steps back into the internal fair value gap, right? Wave 4s typically come to 0.236 through 0.5. They don't hit the 0.618. If they do, you should be expecting a pump from ADA, right? But for now, I'm running this as a wave 4. I'm looking to short ADA coming up. This is my invalidation for my shorts. And I'm looking for a 3-wave motion from here or wherever it finds it. Maybe the 3 comes down, maybe we chop, make another low. But ultimately, I'm looking to short a 3-wave motion. That's around the same time of size and structure of that 2. And it delivers hidden bear divergence, meaning this pivot on the RSI around 63 is where I'm looking for us to get back for ADA on the hourly. So if we make a 3-wave motion out of here, boom, you have hidden bull or hidden bear. Look for that successive 5-wave down as a short, my guy. And understand that the math of this will be from that 0-pointer high point, low of a potential 3, high of a potential 4. You would still look for down to 35 cents on this, and that's just the hourly, okay? Overall, I have a bearish outlook on ADA. I'm not looking to get involved. This is something that we've been saying in kind of every stream, so just review those. If you have more questions, Dubai Fitness, pop in the Discord. Links up above. I think I didn't pin it, but I will get that done for you guys. And come on by, dude. Links in my YouTube, links in my X. Say hi. I'm always there. I'm not like other people. I'm not going to leave you hanging. When you have questions, you can ask anybody that's a current member. We're always there for the team, right? Because that's what's important. All right, let's go to XLM. Locally, it was also looking somewhat bearish. It never finished the 5-wave structure. Yes? So because of that, we have a stop loss. We get out of our trade, right? You don't keep sticking it out. You don't keep trying to be there. You are going to get shit wrong and you are going to get shit right. All right, so when you zoom into XLM, you're going to see the same story is occurring here. When you measure off of a high, you have a nice move down in 5 and a chopping motion up in 3. And then you come down again in another likely 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you're starting to displace 3 into 4, 3 into 4, 3 into 4. You may make a bigger wave for here, just like you were planning on for Cardano. So I would say, XLM's far past correction. It's well into impulsive. It's made an extended wave 3. You have your largest volume in your wave 3 of 3 going into drying up volume as we're making the stacking in the 3s and 4s on XLM. So I think overall, yes, you are looking for a little bit of upside relief here, but I truly believe if you're lucky, it's the largest degree wave 4 of the stacking, and that should not break the internal fair value gap left behind, which is hilarious because it's very confluent with old price action hourly resistance support trend line here, right? Cut through it like cheese. Will we back test it as resistance and then fall further? Again, you're looking for a 3-wave motion out of these lows, so nothing super bullish. And then a successive 5 to the downside, which you'll be able to measure from from 0. I threw my own self off. 3 to 4 using your trend-based fib extensions, and aim for a wave 5 short with easy invalidation, right? This should be a pretty easy trade setup for you to follow with no help. But if you want to learn how to hit trades like this on a consistent basis, come by the Discord, say hello again. I'll always be in there. Not like the other folks. I actually deliver upon the product. There's no difference in any of us. We're all on the same level. We don't need 19 different chat rooms where this person's this level, this person's this level. Let's just all learn together and grow together. All right, XLM's done. Let's move into FARTBOY. I've mitigated my risks on FARTBOY. I sent that out to the community in the Discord. When I did, I didn't want to sit through all this downside. To me, I think that if you're lucky, which luck isn't what I think we should depend on, we are seeing some increase in the overall sell volume here. You can see it rising up the red. What concerns me about that is that we're really not making great structures to the downside, right? So we have 3 to the downside and 3 to the upside. Now, until it takes this low, which is hard invalidation, It may have. Let's check the math here. Let me see. What is our lows? 1085. 1085. Is that on it? Yep. 1085. So we have a triple low. I would say due to that math, it's more than probable to take the low. Now, can it reverse? Sure. It hasn't technically taken the low, and FARTBOY hasn't technically invalidated what could be a bullish setup. To be bullish, you would have to be, this is a fucking stretch, so bear with me. You'd be saying this is wave 1 into 2, wave 1 into 2, and now it's looking for some massive pump. Yes? Now, that would be an unquestioned displacement. You wouldn't have to ask yourself what's happening on FARTBOY. The answer would be right in your face, right? And you would be looking for a very strong motion. The reason you can keep the 1-2 dream alive is because that successive 1 into 2 motion only came to the 0.618. It's a super rare target, right? Super rare target to have a high to. Now, I'm also open to further correction to the downside, and this being a C, but this would be the world's ugliest C, I have to say. But let's say we go with the 1-2 idea. You would then be looking for this inner leg to get displacement, right? Meaning that it gets impulsive, it breaks out. If it's going to do that, you have super simple, easy targets, right? You know when to fold. That's these fucking lows, my dude. 3, 4, and 5, right? So that gives you 5 waves up. Now, at that point in time, I want you to understand with that math, this can still be an A, and this could still be a B, and this could still be a C. So this is still on the table for FARTBOY until your invalidation is hit, right? I would just, for you or for someone who's involved with the project or has a heart in it or DCA from lower or whatever your reason is to be there, stick it out. Wait for invalidation. Look for a 3-wave motion to the 1 through 1.382 on FARTBOY in an ABC motion, which takes us up to around 0.1890 to the highs around a 1.382 at 0.2336. That's great, dude. It's 2 cents. That's a hell of a gain, right? So from this region with a very close invalidation is a 66% to 100% move if it's corrective. Now, if you get lucky, and let's say FARTBOY turns into more, like we've talked about before, if it makes a valid 5-wave motion to the upside, we are going to look for these 5 waves within this to get extended, meaning its wave 3 will likely go a little higher, its wave 5 will go a little higher, and its wave 4 will hold shallow. After it made that 5 waves, you'd be able to say, holy cow, I might have something more here. I made an amazing trade. I made an entry, blah, 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 right? Pat yourself on the back because it would be great. You would then have made a wave 3, 4, and 5, right? So that would be the roadmap for FARTBOY moving forward. So if you're looking for entries on FARTBOY, you're looking as a spot trader, here's easy invalidation for it at the lows in a 1-2 stacking setup, looking for it to run into successive 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Right? With the overall goal to 2.236. So this could be a decent setup with very, very close invalidation. I'm okay with being the one with pie on his face, but I'm not going to ride it. I'm just going to sit this one out. That's a loss of 4% on a spot bag with a potential swing of 66%, right? So the risk to reward is there. Is the risk to reward ratio a little unrealistic? Sure, but this is the roadmap I would be looking forward to on FARTBOY, okay? All right, that is everything so far. Let's go look at what we have left for chart requests. Dude, thank you guys for the likes. We have 12 likes on the stream. That's massive. All right. Can I look at Cyber Connect? Sure. I have a question, Sten the Man. Is Cyber on a deck screener, or is this something that I can look at on a standard setup? Cyber Connect. All right, let's go to Tether. Let's go see what we have for our macro chart before we start talking. All right, so that looks like proper shit. So do you see this? This is something that we talked about in the community a very long time ago, is why this is here. This is the liquidity that was left behind, okay? Now, when you're looking at these fibs, when you pull it from high to low and you come up like this and reject, I don't know what the narrative would be, but at some point, the most likely thing to happen would be to take these highs. But that would be said if you had prior charting data. Now, because you didn't have this prior chart data saying that this was an uptrend, we can't count this 888, right? We can't count that deep retracement. So it actually is bearish for this project. And in my opinion, I would continue to look for more downside. I would be really hard put to try to be involved with this right now. And the main reason why is this wick, right? You have not taken 50% of the liquidity in that sell-off wick out yet. And that's around not 54 cents. Now, I wish that Cyber had a pair that didn't have such a liquidation wick. Let's see if we can find it. This one does also. Yeah, dude, that's the most common thing, right? Sweep the lows and screw this chart up. Hopefully these are all the same charts. Yeah, man, I'm out. I'll go back to the Binance chart and see if we can see some sort of scalpy thing on Cyber. But right now, I would say my bias is towards the downside. Even this is not a sustainable move. Sorry, I'm trying to fight a sneeze and talk my way through this chart at the same time. Excuse me. So when we're looking for scalps, we're looking for impulsive setups that we can take advantage of, right? Nothing about this hourly strategy here is giving us the look, right? Like we talked about on our other altcoins that were looking really good, right? We talked about Bitcoin Cash. We talked about VELO having the look. This doesn't have the look. So to me, I'm steering clear of this even for a scalp, unfortunately. So I'd have to let Cyber go. The next thing came in from Nameless. If this is the reversal on Zcash, where could it go? I'm looking to short again between 520, 550, targeting below 300. So I would be hard pressed to get into another short on Zcash. It met my target in the Discord. I don't know how to explain this. I would rather start to look for longs, and I'll show you why. So do you see that really deep RSI reset? So you have a three-wave motion off the highs, and that three-wave motion was the high. Yes? Because of this, it sets the coin up for the potential to retake those highs later. Because in Elliott Wave, highs made on a three-wave motion typically get retaken. The thing to point out on Zcash is extremely oversold 8-hour conditions, and in an uptrend, you are oversold with back here on your RSI pivot, right? So what if this is hidden bull divergence and we're looking for a reversal? I would hate to be hunting shorts on Zcash at that time, right? Now, I understand that this correction has gotten quite intense, but what I have to stay focused on was that was the high, that was the low, and we didn't make a new high. Because of that, I'm sticking with this is a corrective motion towards the downside with hidden bull divergence. I'm starting to look for pivots towards the upside on Zcash. Yes? I also think it's incredible because in the Discord, we had amazing shorts on Zcash. We nailed a couple highs on the way down. Absolutely amazing. So No, unfortunately, Addy, it's really hard to count a 5 down and see. This looks like 3 down, 3 up, and trying to make 1, 2, maybe 1, 2, goes for 3, 4, 3, 4, and maybe like a sell-off wick for 5. But I really have no interest in this until we get to here, right? I really think that's my area of interest, right? Until we get to the 1.618 extension, I want to see nothing's coming out of my wallet for this, especially with what? My macro counts on Bitcoin, right? My macro counts on Bitcoin are saying I'm looking for downside. So until that shifts, I'm really staying risk off with altcoins, right? So yes, locally, scalpers are looking for upside on Bitcoin, but I want you to be aware that this chop and grinding is going to work its way out down here. This could likely be a 4, make another 5 down. And then you get that bigger 4. And then you get another 5, right? But I will keep this lower time frame stuff updated in the Discord community. Come on by, say hello. The link's in my bio here. It's in my bio on Twitter. Subscribe, like the stream. All of this stuff is super helpful. And I really, really appreciate you guys' support. Even your comments on the stream after it ends really help out the community a lot. And I hope to see you guys out there. Catch you all later. Bye, everybody.